Hey guys, in today's episode, we're going to talk about real versus fake intuition. Have you ever looked at a chart or been in the market and just had that feel like you knew something was going to happen, but you couldn't explain why? Well, that is intuition, and it is a real thing. However, many newer traders think they have intuition, but they really don't, and that can be very devastating to their trading account. So we're going to talk about that today. Also, if you haven't done so already, check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Akil Stokes. Lots of new content added there each and every week, youtube.com/Akil Stokes. Is it intuition versus rules? No, it's all rules. Intuition is interesting because intuition is a real thing. I think you ask any professional trader, they'll tell you that intuition is real. Intuition comes strictly from experience, right? It's kind of like, and I don't know if this is true or not with deja vu. I've been having deja vu a lot lately, so I started researching it, and it has to do with like stress and stuff like that. But so deja vu apparently is like, what, when you feel like you've been in a situation before, like you've seen something before, but it's really, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it's really like your brain taking bits of information from different points in time and it puts it together in a way where it's like you think you've done this before, but you really haven't, but those different bits and pieces make you feel like you did, right? Am I right there? That's my knowledge on deja vu. It's not truly still understood, but that's what I remember hearing. It's bits of scattered information coming together to present something that sounds familiar, that looks familiar, but it's not actually familiar. So intuition is the same way. We get intuition, right? As a newer trader, you think you have intuition, but it's emotional, right? A newer trader is like you feel like something is a sell or a buy, but it's really probably some type of confirmation bias, right? So it's emotional. So if I have this intuition where like, man, I think euro dollar, this as a newer trader, I think euro dollar is going to sell off. It's probably because, you know, while eating breakfast in the morning, I had CNBC on and they just kept talking about sell euro dollar, sell euro dollar, sell euro dollar. And even if you weren't necessarily paying direct attention to it, right, subconsciously, your brain and your eyes and your ears were picking it up. And now you get to the chart and you're like, man, like, I don't know why, but I feel like I should sell euro dollar, right? You guys ever been there? I used to do that all the time. I remember gold. Gold was a big one for me. When like I used to. So this was even more back when I traded stocks. I used to have this office and I had like two TVs. I had CNBC on one. I had what did I have on the other one? I had CNBC and I had something else, and I had Bloomberg. I had Bloomberg on my laptop, and I would just have it on in the background because that's what traders were supposed to do, right? Traders were supposed to have these news sites on. And I remember one day, like all morning they were just talking about, you got to sell gold, sell gold, sell gold, sell gold. Everyone just sell gold. And I wasn't really paying attention to it, but just like I had it on for whatever reason. And I remember going to my computer and I'm like, scanning the market, doing my stock scan, whatever, looking for ideas. And I'm like, man, I think we should sell gold. And I went to my mentor. I'm like, what do you think about selling gold? He's like, why? All right, he always asked that. I would give him my idea. What do you think about this? Why? And he made me explain it to him. I'm like, well, I don't know. I just have this feeling like we should sell gold. He's like, was everyone on TV talking about selling gold this morning? I said, probably. He's like, well, that's why you want to do it, right? It's a kind of an unconscious or subconscious confirmation bias where you've just been fed all these ideas that now you want to do it. It's the same thing as advertising. I don't know how many of you guys are into advertising, right? I know a little bit about advertising and marketing from some psychology stuff I did, but advertising the same way, right? The job of advertising is just kind of like Inception, right? It's just to put an idea in your head. It's just to put an idea in your head. It's like, hey, let me just mention tier 1 trading. And then let me just mention tier 1 trading again. Now let me mention something else that has to do with tier 1 trading. And I'm plugging tier 1 trading in your head. And before you know it, at night, you're just like, tier 1 trading, right? Subliminal messaging, yeah. That, and then obviously there's the visual version of it as well, where like little sidebar ads on Facebook pop up. And you close them down and whatever, and another one, and you close it down. Before you know it, you're like, man, I do need a new pair of shoes, don't I? Why? Because you've been plugged with shoe ads all day, right? So it's this confirmation bias where you think you have this intuition, but really you've been tricked. Yep, very specific colors too, right? Reds and greens and blues. Each has a different effect on you based on. It's funny how much like A/B testing they do just to decide what color to make the advertisement. It's ridiculous how it's. I mean, they've acquired so much data on us over the years that it makes it so easy. We won't even go down that route, but like the amount of data they have, so here's a quick one. I promise I won't go down this route, but like Instagram, right, or any social media platform, right? So they know exactly how much time you typically spend before you log out, right? That maybe it's not obvious, but that's pretty simple, right? So they know that when Orsi logs in, Orsi typically spends like 1 minute scrolling through her feed, and then she's like, I'm done with this, right? So now that they know what Orsi's average time is, right? They know exactly when to place that advertisement, right? I've got 1 minute before Orsi logs out. So I've got to get this ad into her feed before that 1 minute. So it's like, ad. Because you got to see it before you log out. Right? Does that make sense, guys? Like they have so much data on us with usage, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's amazing. But anyway, so that's like a newer trader intuition where they think they have intuition, but they really don't. It's kind of a false intuition, I guess you can say. The real intuition is based off of experience. And Duncan mentioned this earlier. Duncan was a cop or is a cop. Was a cop. He said, when I was a cop, we called it the sixth sense. There is a point in your career you can tell which doors not to open without drawing your gun, right? And again, you would think it's ridiculous, but it's that experience. And you may not even know what that experience is, right? You just may have done something so many times that subconsciously you know, even if you can't explain it yet. And I bet there were times like that, Duncan, where it's like, well, how did you know not to draw your gun going into that door? And you're like, I don't know. But there were times where you can tell by the situation, you can tell by maybe the call or the location. Like you can make these educated guesses in the in real life, but you can do it in the markets as well. And that's what intuition is, right? So intuition is the market is, for example, you can see a pin bar, a long wicked candle. And then like for years and years and years, you've been watching these pin bars, and every time you see those pin bars form and let's say a higher high, higher close forms after it, the market goes up. Right? The market goes up. So now all of a sudden you're trading live in the market. You see this pin bar and you're talking with a friend on the phone. And you're like, yeah, watch, $1 is going to go up. And they're like, how do you know that? And you're like, just watch. Like I feel it. I know it. And then it goes up, right? And it's that intuition, it's that experience. Now our job as traders in a rules-based scenario is to take that intuition and make it rules-based. So we have to discover what gave us that intuition. It's great to know that, not know, but be able to make a really accurate prediction on the market is about to do a certain thing. But you're playing a very dangerous game, right? Because now you're not rules-based trading. Now you're emotional trading. You're just kind of going after it. And I mean, how do you know when you're at the level where you can just do it versus you're just over trading and breaking rules, right? Is there something that can determine that? Like, how do we know? Like, how can I tell Evans that, hey, Evans, you're at the point right now where you can just trade recklessly off of intuition versus Evans, you think you're trading off intuition, but you really have no idea what you're doing, right? Is there a way to quantify that? That's the biggest question. And why a lot of traders get into trouble because they think they're at the point where they can trade off of intuition, but they're not. Like, I'm not even at the point where I can trade off intuition, right? I wouldn't trust myself. Because let's say I hit like 3 things in a row off strictly intuition. Now I'm overconfident. Now I'm like, hey, wait a minute, F these rules, man. Let's just go off a feel, right? And now I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Big picture. So our job as traders is we need to investigate where is this intuition coming from, right? Why do I think price is going to go up whenever I see this type of action? And then we kind of reverse engineer that, right? Okay, well, I have a pin bar Is it the pin bar and higher high, higher close combination that does it? Is it a pin bar, higher high, higher close combination only at a structure level, only with high volume, right? And then after we reverse engineer it and kind of deconstruct it, excuse me, now we can make it rules based. So now just instead of just being like, hey, I think this is going to go up because of, I don't know, I just know it. Now it's like, hey, if I see pin bar at previous level of structure, then look for higher high, higher close. If I get higher high, higher close, then look for bullish move. Right now we've turned it into something rules based. Does that make sense? So that's what we want to do with intuition. We want to shift it. We want to wait for it to grow, develop. We want to deconstruct it. We want to make it rules based, and then we can add it into something that's tradable. And that comes by time in the market. Like if you're consistently doing research and analysis and observation, it's a lot easier. Orsi just typed in yes. A good example is inside bars, right? Where it's like you can start telling, if you watch them enough, hey, which inside bars tend to do which? Like, hey, when we get this kind of fakey thing you spoke about earlier, we tend to do this. Like that's all just observation over consistent observation over a long period of time. When Duncan says, the sixth sense is taboo in police. No one ever talks about it because those who do are probably crazy. But if an older cop holds your shoulder and says, don't go in there, no one questions it and everyone draws their gun. I feel you, man. I feel you. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hope you learned something that can maybe keep you out of trouble, especially for you newer traders out there. And if you're an experienced trader, hopefully you learn how to take that feel, that intuition, and make it rules-based and add it to your plan so it's something that is tradable in the future. Now, if you haven't done so already, head over to our website, www.tier1trading.com. We have a lot of information over there that you can take advantage of. Workshops, webinars, trainings, software, community of traders, lots of stuff. www.tier1trading, www.tier1trading.com. Check it out.